I've started over more times than I can count. New plan, new notebook, new promise at midnight, and every time around week 3, something in me just stopped. I used to think that meant I was lazy, broken, not one of those people. I don't think that anymore. Let's talk about why we really quit, and what separates the people who stay from the people who keep restarting. You know the feeling, that surge of clarity, after a hard conversation, a late night, a moment you're finally sick of the loop. This time I'm serious. You buy the book, set the alarm. For a while it's real. Then the novelty fades. Results come slower than the fantasy promised. Life gets loud again. And the decision to stop doesn't even feel like a decision. You just notice, 2 weeks later, you haven't opened the notebook. You tell yourself you'll restart when you're ready. Readiness never fully arrives. I waited for it for years. And here's the part nobody says out loud. The failure was never the worst bit. The worst part was the quiet suspicion after. Maybe I just don't have what it takes. I know that voice. So let me show you why it's wrong. We're taught successful people are just more talented, luckier, more motivated. We treat motivation like weather. You wait for it to clear. That waiting cost me years. What actually carries people through the long, boring middle isn't talent, and it isn't raw discipline. It's staying in love with something long enough that hard days stop feeling like evidence against you, and choosing quietly to get back up when they come. People call it grit. Let's strip the word down to what it actually is. Grit has 2 parts. Passion, not fireworks, the kind that stays lit on a boring Tuesday. Most of us aren't short on interest. I wasn't. I was short on continuity. I'd fall for the idea of a better life, then abandon the work the second it stopped feeling new. Perseverance, the daily kind. Showing up to the part you're still bad at. Getting back up when nothing about it feels heroic. When those two stay married for years instead of weeks, you stop needing proof you're the kind of person who can do this. You just become someone who does it. Now here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. A lot of what we call a discipline problem is actually an identity problem. Break enough promises to yourself and another restart doesn't feel inconvenient. It feels like confirmation. See? I start strong and fade. That story becomes the real opponent. Every hard day stops being just a hard day. It becomes evidence. And once it's evidence, you start protecting yourself from it. Quitting a little earlier. Keeping goals vague so you can't fully fail. Waiting for better conditions that never come. I did all of this. If you recognize it, that's not weakness. That's a bruise you're protecting. Here's the hopeful part. Ability isn't as fixed as we treat it. The brain keeps rewiring itself, but only if you stop reading every setback as a verdict on who you are. Fixed mindset makes failure dangerous, so you avoid the exact experiences that would grow you. Growth mindset makes failure information, uncomfortable, but usable. That shift changes what you do on the days you feel nothing. Most people wait to feel ready. The people who get there act in order to become ready. They build small, boring systems that move them even when the weather's bad. And they stay long enough for awkward to become competent and competent to become quietly confident. Think of the last meaningful thing you walked away from. Not because it was wrong for you, but because it got hard and quiet and slow. What if the problem was never the goal? What if you just never practiced staying after the high wore off? That's not a character flaw. That's a skill nobody taught us, which means it's learnable. Here's how. Pick one direction, not 15. Make the daily action embarrassingly small so I don't feel like it isn't a valid exit. Track consistency, not intensity. Expect the dip and decide now what you'll do when it comes. And when the old story shows up, I'm just not someone who finishes things. Treat it as a thought passing through, not a fact. You don't have to believe the opposite yet. Just stop feeding the old one another quiet quit. Over time, that voice gets quieter. Not because you became superhuman, because you collected enough small evidence that you can be trusted with your own intentions. That evidence will do more for you than any speech, mine included. You'll still have days you want to stop. I still do. The difference is, those feelings don't get the final vote anymore. Keep the North Star. Keep the small daily return, even when it's tiny. Treat hard days as part of the path, not proof you took the wrong one. That's grit when no one's watching, not dramatic, just the decision, made again and again, that this is still worth your presence, even when it's quiet, even when it's slow, even when you're the only one who'll ever know you didn't quit. And that quiet, private decision, repeated enough, that's enough to change a life. I've watched it change mine. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just at the quiet part, right before it gets good. Stay a little longer than you want to. Most people don't fail from lack of talent or motivation. They abandon the long middle the moment the reward drops. Then read that abandonment as proof of who they are. Real change starts when you stop treating hard days as evidence against yourself and start treating consistency, however small, as the only evidence that matters. 1. Lasting passion isn't excitement. It's choosing the same direction after the novelty's gone. 2. A discipline problem is usually an identity problem. Broken promises make every new attempt feel dangerous. 3. Ability is more changeable than you act like it is. Treat setbacks as information, not verdicts. 4. Make the daily actions small enough that mood doesn't get a vote. Track showing up, not inspiration. 5. Real self-respect is finishing more of what you start, even when only you are keeping score. The version of you that keeps restarting isn't broken. It's just waiting for the version of you that finally decides to stay.